Hello, and howdy y'all. Welcome to the podcast that drinks and knows things. I'm your host for tonight, which I specifically asked for. I'm Ben. This is our episode, Nice Day for a Red Wedding. We are recording on July 1st, 2018. We're talking, of course, about Season 3, Episode 9, Game of Thrones title, The Reigns of Castamere. With me, as always, is co-host Glenn of House Dog.
Rough.
Lucan of House Blackmead.
Take a sip, folks.
And Abby, there's been 2 days since her first watching, so she's coming over off of her hangover that she needed from yesterday. Abby, a.k.a. Gertie of House Condescension. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. All right, boys and girls, what are we drinking tonight?
Looks like we got some Corona Premiers, which are about as light of a light beer as you can possibly get.
Yeah.
They are 90 calories, and it tastes like less.
No, nice. Well, I'm drinking a...
fewer. It tastes like fewer.
I'm drinking a Craft Dig Light, St. Louis brewed by William K. Bush Brewing Company. It's all right. It's not bad. Yeah. Abby?
Oh, boy. Yeah, this is the emotional fallout we've been waiting for.
So we have some Red's Wicked Ale. I see that can.
Yeah, I have a Duplin wine, Black River Red.
Been a while since we've had the Black River Red. It's just hasn't felt quite right.
This is Hope's End, which is a runaway to the dark side. Red blend.
Cool.
A Wicked Red. And, to even it out, I have an Abby's Amber Ale.
There you go.
Hey, good for you.
Hey, that's like your name.
I also have a Mountain Dew.
Excellent.
Oh.
We're trying to balance it out.
Getting crazy over here.
All right, Luke. We made some very good friends over this last week. So
we did. And this is actually a shout out to a friend of the show at Maester Monthly podcast. We met Eliana at Ice and FireCon. This whole season 3, we've kind of been shouting out people different podcasters that we met at Ice and FireCon, and Eliana, who is also on Girls Gone Canon, Glass Table Girl, Arithmetric on Twitter. She does also the Maester Monthly podcast with Bookshelf Stud and Joe Magician. Very, very good nerdy podcasts. A lot of thinking, unlike what we do here most of the time. We're here for the drinking, but it's definitely worth checking out. And if you want to go to Ice and FireCon next year, we would love to see you there. Use promo drinks for, I think, $5 off.
$5 off, yeah.
And we'll see you there.
Yeah, and we'll have a beer together or something.
We'll let you buy us a beer, and we'll buy you too.
Awesome. So, did we have any news or current Game of Thrones events pop up that we could talk about?
Not really. Nothing. There's a couple spoiler heavy stuff, so I just didn't really dive into that at all. So
that's all right. So how about Glenn take us to a previous episode recap?
Okay. Arya Hound are twins bound. Dany meets with second sons. Gendry arrives at Dragonstone. Things get a little bit too kinky. Tyrion and Sansa have a little wedding. Sam defeats Timothy Crasterson with a dragon glass dagger.
Nice.
A little wedding.
A little wedding. Yeah, that one took a second.
Timothy Crasterson.
A small wedding.
All right. So, again, we're talking about Season 3, Episode 9. This episode was 50 minutes long. It first aired on June 2nd, 2013. Directed by David Nutter. Written by David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. Episode description, Abs.
House Frey joins forces with House Tully. Jon faces his most difficult test yet.
Yeah, okay. We'll see if that happens. All right. So we are moving on to our Quill and Puppard.
Quill and Puppard.
Quill and Puppard. I didn't even drink it. Quill and Tankard pub trivia. There we go. Trad, I'm going to throw this out to you. If you're watching live streaming, you can answer. Boys and girls in the studio, no checking chat for the next 10 minutes or 5 minutes. But, so my question relating to this episode. Walder Frey introduces us to 12 single daughters or granddaughters. Name 4 of them.
Spelling cannot count on these. There's no fucking chance.
If you're
Because he mumbled most of them.
you could have had closed caption on.
He said daughters and granddaughters.
Daughters and granddaughters. See, I'm trying to be fair. She gotta get 4 out of 12. All right, are we getting close here?
Yeah. All right, we ready to play the music?
Hit the music.
How do you know this?
That's what I do. I drink, and I know things.
All right, so on 3, 2, 1, hit enter. All right, let me take a look here. So we will start with Glenn. He has Sarah, Ariane, and Walda. Luke has Arwire. Okay, Walda, Durwa, Walda, Gain,
Ganea,
Naela,
Freya, Marianne, Sarah, and Zara, the twins. You could have had one or either, or both. And Mary, which was the one he called 3 different names.
Yeah.
I left out the youngest ones.
The youngest one. Oh, there was only one other one after.
Yeah,
but
I left the...
you actually had one wrong.
How about that?
Yep. Abby has Waldra, Mary, Poorly, Wortha, and Weldra. Now, the correct... Where did my trivia list go? Over here. So, we have Ariane, Durwa, Walda.
He's fucking mumbling all of this without closed captioning.
I'm just saying.
Hydra.
Gainella, Niella, Sarah, Marianne, Freya, Mary, and Shiree.
And there's Hercules and,
so,
and Druidia.
Abby, you missed it by 1.
That's all right. I do believe that Mary spelled that way.
You are correct on that.
Because
Yes.
I wanted it with the captions. I was like, oh, we couldn't even use Mary.
Yes. Yeah, you were correct on that spelling. Glenn got a point. Luke technically gets a point, but he didn't. Yeah, misspell Marianne.
Okay, I got almost all the other
But
ones.
he got
you
19
can't just
of the 12
name all
you
of them,
asked
just
him
hoping
for.
some stick.
The
You have
first
to
one
name
is
4.
no, because you have Arye.
You can only
It's
name 4 of them.
Ariane.
You fucking listen to it. It sounds like he's saying R-wire.
Just say
Pick your top 4.
Bart the Bear. That's all I can say.
Let's not get into your semantic fucking questions. That was
You get
rebuttal.
a, you
that was
get a
rebuttal
point
for you.
You get a
You
point.
get a point.
All right, so that puts our season scores to 2 for Glendog, 3 for Ben, 4 for me, and 2 for Abby, going into the final round next week.
All right. So we got, final round coming up. All right, Abby. So we got looks like we have a sigil to give away. Go ahead and draw a number for us.
Okay. Well, number 20,
Ooh,
which is
that's a good one.
sigil Triforce, pink sigil color with a navy badge outline.
Trendy.
I know. I think we did this last time. That's okay. Be sure to tweet us a picture of your winning sticker at Know and Drink to claim your prize. Tweet us on that Twitter.
So what was the combination one more
Number
time?
20.
Number 20. Triforce, pink sigil color, navy badge outline.
Alrighty.
Excellent. All right. So we are going to move on to the show, to the recap, and we start with the title screen. Did anybody notice something from this title screen? Abby, did you?
No.
Emilia Clarke gets the premier title. Oh,
And it's Amelia.
Amelia. What did I say?
Emilia.
Emily. I always say Emilia. It's Amelia.
Who
Yeah.
is-
Essentially,
Who is that?
Daenerys. Danny.
Okay.
Peter Dinklage got knocked down a peg.
Well, yeah. In fairness, he wasn't on the episode, so I was rolling past that. But also with that, we go to King's Landing, Dragonstone, the twins, Winterfell, the Wall, and Yunkai.
Young guy.
All right, we're going to start the episode off on
Star and
the
young guy.
outskirts of the twins with Kat and Rob. They talk strategies about Casterly Rock.
Whoa!
And Luke just nailed the
Jesus.
desk. Man down. Luke, what's your thoughts on that scene?
I like this scene. I like that Rob was, admitting that he should have been heeding her warnings this whole time. He clearly was like, I fucked up a bit. You were right about Theon. You were right about several of these things, and
You're the best and I'm the worst.
you're the best. I'm the worst. I'm scum. You're a
You're
goddess.
good looking. I'm not attractive.
And he's just leveling with her. It's like, I need you here. I respect your opinion, and good on him, because she has made a lot of right calls that he's either one ignored or went against almost just to prove that he had some individuality, you know, some of his own choices to make that sometimes they were the wrong choices.
Yeah,
Wrong.
No, agreed. That's pretty much the same note I have. Finally realizing he doesn't.
I was just reading your note.
doesn't know everything and asks his mom for his advice on the rock. Yeah, it's as much shit as I've given Catelyn up until now. He's not wrong. You know, she does make good points, especially tactically. You know, she has some good insights. So, Glenn.
Yeah, I think along with your guys' point, I think Rob's just waiting for her to kind of talk him out of it, and she really kind of ends up going along with it. Although the one hidden caveat is if Walder Frey cooperates.
Mm-hmm.
So
I guess we're going to see if that if he cooperates.
If he cooperates, so.
They get married.
That's a big if.
So I have a couple things on this one. One, who carves these chess pieces? Like these intricate little board figures, and
I don't know.
That's really what they travel around during war with. Like that is of utmost importance to have a ginormous table brought with you.
He's a
from
king.
place to place.
He's a king.
I got a couple carvers.
I know. I mean, this is true. We were talking about
Fighting
Ned's
Fighting
picnic
carvers.
with Ned and King Robert, and they had chairs and a picnic and all that stuff. But geez, Louise, my next thought is this seems like a plan for somebody who is like, this is the Hail Mary, I think is what I used when I was watching it. I don't feel like we have been led to believe they're necessarily losing the war. Like, I feel like this is a last ditch, throw all your cards in effort when, yes, there's been some mistakes, but mistakes on both sides. This is like, we're losing in my last stand.
Yeah, but
So-
I think it's like, no, they're not losing the war, but like with the Lannister army, they always have like the riches and they could pay for, you know, reinforcements, whereas I think the North just them and whatever allies they could pick up.
Yeah, I guess it's like an end all, definitely an end all plan, but
Well, wasn't it 2 episodes ago where he basically just yelled at her saying, "I won every battle, but I'm losing this fucking war." You know, so he knows he's
Yeah.
screwed without.
And we've lost some like confidence within his own men. We've seen that already. So it's just really kind of a scary plan. But, you know, she does say, hey, take it to him. So
Exactly.
we shall see.
It's kind of like the Vietnam War, where I don't think the U.S. really lost any battles or anything like that, but they didn't really make a difference. So
It did.
Yeah.
technically,
There was
they didn't,
no decision.
Yep.
yeah, they didn't really win.
Yeah.
The picture that was taken out in the 4th.
All right. So it's going to stay on the outskirts of the twins with the Hound, Arya, and a wagon man. Sandor lends a hand to help fix the wagon and lends a right hook to take it.
So basically, we learn from the scene that 1 hound equals 8 hands. So that's how strong he is.
But how many chickens does that mean? I liked Arya begging him not to kill the pork man. She still shows signs that she has some sort of compassion, you know, regardless of what she's been through. She's like, no, don't kill him. He didn't do anything. Yeah, it's still kind of naivety.
And he even kind of calls her out on that. He's like, that's going to get you killed. You're kind. That's going to get you killed. And I don't know. They have definitely some differing opinions on, you know, what's right and what's wrong, regardless of being effective. That's kind of something we've discussed here and there on this show. But it's just interesting to see how these two are kind of butting heads. Like, they're both pretty pragmatic. Like, yeah, this is an issue, this guy being here, but like, how drastic do you really need to get?
Exactly.
Right in that scene, like part of it, the man stirs just at the wrong moment, and you can see her being like, shit, dude, like just smacking him, you know? Like, you couldn't have stayed asleep for just a couple more seconds so I could have really sunk my point in. Like, damn it. But she's awesome. Just picks it up, no care. Like,
Thump.
yeah.
Quiet, you.
So also in
Trying
that
to
scene,
save you.
you know, he calls her out and is like, you know, she's like, you think you're so tough, you know, scaring little girls. And he's like, I'm probably the scariest person you've ever, you know, like the toughest person you've ever met, or whatever he says. And she's basically hearkening back to Jock and Hagar.
Yeah.
Says,
Well, that's actually the next scene.
I think that's all the same scene, because
No, that's when he's sitting there eating the ham. He says, "You're so big and scary."
well, that part. Okay. So, but you sure about that? I don't know. Let's
All right.
we'll talk about it.
Continue on with
It
your point.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, either way, she references back to Jack and Hagar without saying his name.
Yeah.
Like, I know somebody that would basically make you, you know, take you out like a lamb to slaughter is what she's getting at.
Oh, no,
because
you're right. Because
it's in that
was
scene.
that him? Is that this guy? No? Well, then, you're right. So,
Right.
Yep. So, sorry.
That's cool.
Because going on to the next scene, we'll just kind of tie it all together for the end of Hound and Arya for the most part.
Half of the show is Benji and I just disagreeing
arguing
on which scene things
Which
happen.
scene is which?
It's true.
Becoming a
God.
trend. Get it together.
We're about 50-50. All right. Hound and Arya are outside the twins, still looking upon it, and they discuss pork and fears. I'm still annoyed, as we discussed on Friday night. We don't know how she found out about the hounds burning. It's kind of, it's something.
She wasn't at the King's tourney.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's unlikely that Sansa and her would have talked about it in like the 30 seconds they were together.
Let's talk Hound for a minute.
So about the Hound.
You have a second to talk about the Hound?
Our Lord and Savior Hound.
Praise be the chicken.
Praise be the chicken.
I mean, she could have figured it out at Harrenhal when the mountain's there.
Yeah,
you know,
true.
Like people talking or whatever. Hey, this guy's so psycho. He put his brother's face to the fire. Or, I mean, she's been in with Tywin Lannister, who the mountains were around him. You know, camp talk.
My only thing, and I completely agree, it's very likely that that's happened. My thing is they made such a big deal of Sansa finding out and making sure don't tell the Hound. You know, you would think they would kind of do the same with Arya. You know, just kind of along the lines of it's a secret, nobody knows. Take this.
Yeah, but Arya wouldn't listen. She does what she wants.
Right.
Thanks, Glenn.
You are correct. So yeah, basically the scene so close yet so far away. Kind of just stop for a snack. And then at one point, Arya says, "No one's gonna believe you're a hog farmer if you eat all of them."
It's a poor hog farmer that eats his own wares.
Yeah.
And, you know, the Hound starts talking about Ned, and he's talking to Arya, and he says, you know, this is the closest you've ever been to your family since Ilian Payne took off your dad's head. And she just walks up to him and says, someday I'm going to put a sword through your eye and out the back of your head with the deadest fucking eyes ever.
Yeah, I'm going to kill you.
I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to like it.
You've had extra gloves this whole time.
Lloyd and Harry. But yeah, just Maisie Williams was pretty incredible right there. I thought she did a really good job.
Yeah, no, agreed. All right, anybody got anything else on Hound and Arya outside the twins? All right, we will move inside the twins.
Yeah, it's still going to be there in 5 minutes.
Yes. Rob, Cat, girl from the show, Edmere, Blackfish, Walder, and his massive litter of Freys. They share salt and bread. Rob meets the ladies he scorned and gives his apologies. Walder gets a look at the new queen. Glenn?
Yeah, Rob sees this Frey lineup of what he missed out on. And, you know, kind of Walter's just the whole time kind of putting him on blast. And Rob really can't say anything because, you know, trying to gain him as an ally, he can't really, you know, piss and moan and, you know, argue with him. So he just kind of has to take it right now. And then at one point he wants to step up when he's talking about, the girl from show, but I think Catelyn kind of holds him back, like, don't fucking do anything.
Yep.
Don't do anything stupid.
We need him.
Let's just get this over with. Get the fuck out of here.
Ab?
I like right at the beginning when they are sharing the bread that they've been given to sample. In the background, you see Edmere, like, everybody else is polite about eating it, and he has the most disgusted look on his face. He's like wiping it off with like, oh, like it's just disgusting. There's no type of trying for courtesy here. And I don't know. Freys, he's just a guy you just wouldn't like. You know, like you could try to be nice and kind, and he's still just gonna be an asshole.
Well, yeah, if you wronged him, he's gonna make you suffer for it. He's gonna
but
make
like a person who's just never impressed. Like, oh, you just threw a perfect game? Great. Congrats. Slow clap for you.
All right.
Slow clap for you. Like, he just, you know.
You talking about Edmere?
No. Walter Frey.
Yeah.
He just, nothing anybody's gonna do is gonna be of any type of greatness to him. He's just a jerk.
Something that he kind of gets into, he says, you know, I extend my hospitality and protection in the sight of the seven. So he clearly knows, you know, these guest right laws and extending bread and salt. It's pretty telling that, you know, they're making a big deal out of this for their own protection.
Exactly.
And he's looking at, you know, Talisa, girl from show. And basically he's like, okay, I need to get a better look and see what, you know, basically cost me having a daughter for a queen. And he gets into the whole, you know, I think you kind of didn't choose for love. I think you chose for a nice pair of tits and a fit body. And
I can respect that. You know,
and he can too. Like that's his.
That's what I'm saying is because that's the note I have. As your king says, he betrayed me for love. I think he betrayed me for a nice pair of tits and a tight fit, and I can respect that. You know, it's fair because he's had how many wives and you know
and
no disrespect.
Lord Filch is basically going through and saying, you know, I can still see right through your clothes, even though you're wearing like this big like trench coat dress. And he's like, you're trying to hide her. If you wanted to hide her, you shouldn't have fucking brought her here.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that to that point in the books, not to harp on in the books, but she's not even there.
girl from book.
Girl
is
from
not
book
there.
is not there. Girl from show isn't in book.
That's true. Girl from show does not make an appearance in the book.
So, I don't know what
Yet,
else you
at
want me to say.
We haven't been in the Westerlings. All right. So staying inside the twins, we have Edmere, Hot Frey, quote Rosalind, Rob, Cat, Girl from Show, Walder, and the Blackfish, along with many other people. And
peeps.
Roose Bolton is there as well. Edmere gets a bowl to put his floppy fish in. The look from Walder to Rob, when he, once they revealed Rosalind, he said, see, not all my whelps are hideous. She could have been yours.
That came out of my ball sack.
one for 30. 1 for 30. All right, come on.
Hey, Glad, would you? She came from Walter Frey's balls.
Think about that and answer the question.
So whenever they're walking up the aisle, Frey and Hot Frey, the shot where Rob turns to look at them walking up, he looks right through Roose. Like, Roose is kind of like diagonal to him, and they make eye contact. And then I just thought it was really
time to look at
really
the bride
interesting
walking down the aisle.
the way that was shot to show that Roose is kind of in between them here.
Yeah. No, great. It was very fitting, or what's the word? Symbolism. Kind of.
Symbology. What's the
Symbology.
symbol? No, it's symbolism.
Foreshadowing.
So,
All right,
Yes.
Glenn.
Edmere definitely wins the lottery. And you can just see the look on his face. He goes from 6 to midnight pretty quickly whenever she's revealed.
6 seconds to midnight.
Well, during like the live watch or whatever, no disrespect, Edmere.
You don't like him.
I try really hard. Yes, I really don't like him at all. Like, there's nothing that Tobis Mendez can do that is going to make him like him in any character he is. So every little, I guess I can understand him being like, oh my God, what am I getting into? And then being happy and surprised. Maybe that's genuine or charming. I found it to be so slimy and disgusting. And I'm like, God, I hope you die. I hate him. So I feel like I have a very skewed view on him.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think they call that the McPoyle effect.
Yes. I don't really know if that's how it comes across to other people. I just thought he was the most disgusting thing ever.
The scientific term.
Is that Freudian? I don't know. The McPoyle effect.
Now, one thing I didn't pay attention to when I watched it again this morning, was Ruse sitting next to Fat Walda? Or was there a large bride or large female next to him? That would make sense.
I think they say something later.
Yeah, that he got
You're
married.
just saying the visual.
Yeah, I was wondering if they visually put him with.
I don't remember. I think there was another guy there.
Oh,
which
okay.
maybe it was her. She looks like a guy. I don't know.
Abby will appreciate this from the not Twitch chat, the YouTube chat from DA, Twatmure Tully.
Twatmere totally.
Yes, he's just, ugh.
The Muppet Tully's fan club is growing. All right. So we're going to move on. We're going to leave the twins for a little while, and we're going to Yonkai.
Young guy.
We got Danny.
Your Espanol announcer voice is just phenomenal.
Young guy. Go!
Cool.
Damn it, I wanted to do the names in there. Danny, Daario, Barristan, Giora, and Grey Worm.
Grey Worm.
They make plans to take the city.
Fucking killing me.
So Daario slips past Jorah's defenses of the friend zone. And they talk about slipping past Young Kai's defenses. So just a lot of defenses being talked about, getting past them.
Thwarted.
No, my point is Daario, or Jorah's kind of placed right in between Danny and Daario. And Dario's I guess answering one of Danny's questions, but just kind of loops right around and just, kind of gets in position.
Sidles.
Yeah.
Takes the dragon by the horns.
Right.
Yeah, I do like I felt bad. Jorah battle blocking the bold. Your place is by the queen, no matter our pride. Basically saying, I really don't trust you. I know I don't trust fucking him. You're staying here. Jorah's losing his grip on being Dany's boy.
Danny boy.
Oh, Danny boy, the Danny boys are Danny boys.
The Danny boys are Danny boys.
So, yeah, Barristan, being left behind, he basically gets called out to, because he's like, you guys could use an extra sword here, right? Are we on the right scene? Am I on the right scene?
No, you're not.
Scene.
And so Barristan's like, you guys could use an extra sword. And, Barristan, we hear he's pretty good.
He's bold.
We haven't actually seen much. He's bold. He might be old now.
Old and bold.
Old and bold. Kingsguard. But Queensguard, I should say. But Jorah kind of steps in and tells him, hey, your place is here with the queen. Like, that is your number one duty. Like, we'll do this. It would be nice to have you, but at the same time, you're all she's got. If something goes wrong, you have to have him at her side. That's exactly where he needs to be. And Jorah says, we all have our duties regardless of pride. And I think it's exactly what Barristan needed to hear, because he's bold. And I don't think he's really in it for glory necessarily, but he knows that he would be a big benefit to that small group, that small task force. But his place is definitely at Daenerys' side here.
Exactly. Abby, what's your thoughts on the battle plans?
I mean, it's definitely jumping in and trusting a guy we know little about, putting a lot of faith in him. I also noticed that when she's talking to Barristan, Daario, and Jorah, she speaks one way. Obviously, she's speaking, is it Valyrian to Grey Worm?
Yes.
But her tone is different. Like, she speaks to him like that uber kind. Like, I don't want to do something you don't want to do. So just tell me what your true thoughts are. No harm will come to you. Where to Jorah or anybody else, she's just like, you're going tonight. See ya. There definitely is a tone change.
For a Grey Worm specifically?
Yes.
Yeah. She treats him kind of like a student, kind of, is the way I read it. Like student or ward, kind of.
I think she treats him like, I don't want to make you do something you don't want to do. Like, you were a slave and you are no longer that. So trying to make it perfectly clear that he has voice, that he's allowed to use it.
Gotcha. I see. Yeah, no, I see your
being
point.
Judgmental or whatever.
Yeah, I was kind of going off the softer thing, but yeah, no, that I see exactly what you're saying. So, all right. Then we move to the inside the city walls of Yungai. Daario, Jorah, and Grey Worm. They go ham on about a dozen guards before they are surrounded by about a gross of them. I really didn't have much great battle scene. It was a good fight scene.
Solid fight choreography.
Yeah.
Teamwork make the dream work. Another thing about the scene is Daario's like, all right, I'll give you the signal. I'll make a bird call or something like that. But
like a bar now.
They should have brought Quail Man into the fold.
Quail Man. And even with that, Daario is like, I'm a great whistler. Best in the land.
Best in the land.
There is just no subtlety to
I won
Daario.
first prize at the county fair.
At the yodeling and whistling competition in the county.
I did like with that scene the differences you saw in how the three battled. Like it was one choreographer that set up the scene that did it all together, but he had distinct styles for each of the actors to use and portray. And I thought that I appreciate that. It could have been easy. Oh yeah, you stab this way and you stab. No, they all
and the different weapons really help that to sell the different styles.
Exactly.
But yeah, there's definitely personality in the way it's done as well too, which is neat.
Yeah.
That's actually my biggest thought from it too, was just that they each distinctly fought their training or what, and you could tell, even though they worked together, it was pretty cool. I summoned to make the back circle to defense, all styles. I'm talking about circle up, don't let them in. Good to have in common.
Yeah. So we're going back outside the walls of Yungai, and we have Dany, Daario, Barristan, Jorah, and Grey Worm. Jorah and Grey Worm return to tell of their victory, and Dany only cares of where's Daario. Sorry, this is the beginning.
I knew you were going to be very annoying about that.
I am, but that's the only time I'm doing it. No, this is the beginning of that, but it's because you feel bad for Jorah because he's standing there like, yeah, we just saved the city, and that's all she could think about.
I don't feel bad for Jorah at all because it's his own fucking fault that this happened. He walks in with Grey Worm specifically to tell her this, leaving Daario out in the back with the fucking spoils over his shoulder, the showing that, hey, we've got the capture the flag reward. Jorah fucking set this up.
Okay.
He's an idiot if he doesn't think that's going to go badly for him in his own mental game. It's
Walk
his own
in
fucking
last.
fault.
I mean, I
always
Let her
walk in
worry.
last.
Walk in last.
Or
let her worry.
If Jorah was thinking, have Daario going first, and then, or all together is for Jorah the best option. But he gave all of the glory to Daario the way he fucking, because I'm putting him, I'm making him responsible.
fair enough. I'm not going to argue with you on that. Just the look he had, you get a little twinge of the look. You're like, yeah, you're right. He set it all up, but it fell back on him. It didn't go in his favor.
Captain Friendzone strikes again.
Right. And he was like the first one to say, "Oh, we won the battle," which in his mind, like, "Oh, she's like, oh, thank God."
Oh my God, can we make out now?
I think it at one point just went south for him, and she asked about the whereabouts of Daario.
Said Daario Nars.
Anything?
I also feel bad for Jorah just because I like him. I like him. He's
a
maybe
friend.
Yeah, he's a friend.
He's a great friend.
He is one of those guys that needs like a dating coach. Maybe
He'll do
to
really
help
well
him
in
out.
college. Daario did well at high school.
Yes, like he just needs.
And that's Danny's age right now.
Right.
So that makes sense.
Yeah. He's the jock.
Yeah. So, but I do understand her even wondering where he is. Your 2 guys come in, but you sent 3. I think your initial reaction was be concerned for the missing part, but whatever. They won, which makes me happy.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
So anybody got anything else on Young Guy?
No.
Anything down
He
there?
just does a good Jeff Goldblum impersonation.
All right, so we're going north of the wall, and we have Sam, Gilly, and Baby Craster. Gilly gets her first look at the wall, and I just liked Sam the Reading Wizard.
Mm-hmm.
You're a
Oh,
wizard,
you're like
Sam.
a wizard or
You're a
something.
You take all those marks on the pages on the paper, and it makes sense to you.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty interesting way of putting it. I mean, like, reading is kind of like magic. It's like, oh, these just fucking little symbols just create all these fucking thoughts and things. And communication.
Really, if you take a look
a pretty impressive technology.
in a book,
Reading Rainbow.
it's Reading Rainbow.
That's what it was. And Geordie was there, so. LeVar Burton.
LeVar. I was going to say, do you know his name?
I can do anything.
Floor's yours. Go for it.
I do think like that was one of the points Gilly makes. Like you can just look at all these scribbles on a piece of paper and you know all this, and it can kind of blow your mind if you work through that. Like how much you can learn just from some markings on a paper.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe
And
I
yet
was
he
smoking
still
weed
can't
at that
build a
point,
fire.
which I don't do. But
We all have our
right?
skills.
But I also they're going to the Knight's Fort, or we're trying to, and it was the first castle. But they don't man it anymore because it's just too big to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that the Night's Watch has been dwindling for a while.
Years.
I just don't know when, or like I wonder when it was abandoned, when they decided this is just too big for us. How many years have passed since it was maintainable to now not being able to?
Right.
don't
And
know.
it might be one of those things where the resources were just too hard to get and, just not enough manpower to
Mm-hmm.
kind of.
Especially when they're trying to
keep up.
cover 700 miles of wall.
Yeah.
Or 300 miles of wall. And, I liked the Nightfort history with, Jaehaerys the First is the one who kind of commissioned it and all these things. And I also really like Sam's like mindless spurting of information. Like that's just like his natural fucking state of being is, oh, I'm just going to start talking about facts that I know because that's what makes me
I
comfortable.
just got to get it off my chest. I got to tell somebody.
Right. And you're the only audience member.
Right.
So buckle up.
So, if nobody else has anything, we're going to go south of the wall, and we're in the Gift, where Bran, Osha, Hodor, Rickon, Mira, and Jojen come across an abandoned farm. Pretty basic theme. We get the knowledge of what the Gift is and what area they're in, and, pretty much all I took away from it. Wasn't too much for that scene.
Osha's reaction to the wildlings being blamed for the abandoned area of the gift was pretty funny, because even Bran was like, because Jojen and Mira were like, why is this all abandoned? Why is no one here? And Bran calls it out, the wildlings. And he looks at Osha, he's like, sorry. Like, that's just
Right.
kind of the reason why. So it was funny to kind of see her be offended by that. And then she makes a joke because Rickon talks about how Old Man was like, yeah, they used to drink the blood of the people that they kill. And as they're walking away, and Osha was like, I mean, I'm getting hungry, but I'll just have a glass of blood.
No, come on inside. We'll have some blood.
We'll have some blood. I don't need much.
I don't need much. She's so funny. She's so funny.
Anything else from that one? All right. John, saying in the same area, John, Ygritte, Tormund, Orell, wildlings, and a horse rancher. John cautions the group not to kill the rancher and distracts Ygritte as she tries to arrow him. My thoughts on this was, you can see Tormund even start to not to trust John, calling him out, not wanting the rancher killed. He's like, that's what we do. That's who we are. That's what we're gonna fucking do. And even John, when John talked back to him, he was like, fuck it, we're going, and just started off. So you start seeing the cracks build where he believes that, maybe Orell might be right. Go on.
Right. And you see John he knocks his sword on the rock, to kind of startle the horses, to kind of alert the rancher, and then distracting Ygritte. Like, he just doesn't want anything bad to happen here for, whatever reason. And I think the look on Ygritte's face when he distracts her is just kind of like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, what are you
doing?
That's all I got out of that too. It's just like her totally kind of questioning, like, this is what we're fucking here for. Like, after the whole conversation they had just had on the other side of that little rock wall. Yeah. It's like, we know that they think that they're kind of a team together. At least she thinks that, kind of regardless of what everyone else is doing, like, those two are going to stick together, John and Ygritte, but I think this is the first kind of chink in that actual armor, even though she's called him out specifically. It's like, you don't want to be with the Night's Watch. You don't really want to be with these, savages, but you want to be with me. And I think the way he acts right there kind of makes her question that a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like, am I fucking wrong on this?
No, I think so. Ab?
I wondered if him hitting his sword on the rock is in the books like that, or if we're beyond even what's in the books. Only because if you have that many people running, even well disguised, but full out running, like, those horses are gonna know you're coming. Whether there's a chink to a rock or a yell, just like the pressure they put on the ground, they're just too smart. They would have been upset anyways. Visually, it made him look like a decent moral person, but I think them just running those horses would have been getting all kinds of wild up. And yeah, I don't know. I don't have much more on that one, because I'll save my Ygritte thoughts for later.
Ygritte thoughts.
All right. So next scene in South of the Wall in the Gift, we have Bran, Osha, Hodor, Rickon, Mira, Jojen, John, Ygritte, Tormund, Orell, and the Rancher. Bran and crew hide in the tower during a storm, which causes Hodor to start hoodooing. John and crew confront the rancher just outside the tower, and John shows his true colors and escapes with the help of Summer and Shaggy Dog. This is a long one, kind of combined everything together here. Mm-hmm. So, Luke.
Warging into Hodor is an entirely new level of problematic morality for Bran. It's one thing to kind of absent-mindedly in your dreams warg into your dog. That's one thing. It's a different thing to, have these visions and with the three-eyed raven and all this, but warging into another person, regardless of potentially mindless they are, which is kind of how Hodor's played up, is he doesn't have much mental capacity, but he's still a human. I just don't see Bran being comfortable with
and
this.
I think the way I understand it is warging into a human is kind of like frowned upon, right? Mm-hmm. So it just seemed, maybe my take on this is just, he didn't mean to warg into him necessarily. He was just trying to calm him down, and then it just maybe accidentally,
kind of like a sympathetic connection that forced it at the time. Almost
warged into him just so he would shut the hell up.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't realized that this wasn't the first time that Bran intentionally warged into summer, because up until I thought it was still him and Jojen were practicing, or I think that's a little variation from book to now too. So, but in the show, this is a big moment where he can control that. And then, with the Hodor part of now he's like, well, I can control it, and fuck, I can do it to him. This probably isn't good, so, Glenn, you got another point on yours, the next part where Jon and
so we see the thunder as it's thundering outside now.
It is. So if we lose power or anything,
we're fucked, right?
We're fucked.
Yeah.
So basically, there's the big debate. I heard shouting in that tower or whatever. And Tormund's like, well, no, that was just lightning that you heard. So
that was just lightning.
The big debate of shouting v lightning could have easily been solved by Eagle Hawking flying into the tower and just seeing what's up and
caw,
just caw,
screech.
Doesn't even fly into the tower; just fly past the window.
Caw.
Slow mo, a slow stroll.
Eagle Hawking.
Man.
Go back and watch that Abby's first time viewing this episode, because with us commentating over it, there were some pretty good jokes.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Eagle Hawking.
So, what I thought, somebody's trying to break into my room right now. It's just my own kid. Don't be scared. So, my initial thoughts here was weird what happened with Bran and Hodor, and I'm gonna throw it back over to you because I have knocking at my door.
All right. Well,
sorry.
Going a little further in the scene, I like when Jon gets to be a bit of a cunt to Oral and is like stabs him right through the chest and like, you were right about me all fucking along
the whole time,
the whole time. And just shoves it, and then of course the eagle's like comes down. It's a good little like. Okay, when I came over just now, you were listening to the commentaries.
It was like on that scene.
It was on that scene, and they said something about that was such a good eagle to work with. That was not a real eagle in that.
Well, I thought he said hawk.
Or
that's
hawk.
What he said. I think isn't it supposed to be an eagle?
Yes.
Yeah.
But the guy said hawk.
Yeah. But either way, I'm just like that. They would not have Jon fight up a hawk or an eagle. Like it had to be.
It was a stuffed fucking thing that actually was sitting on him, and like the physics of it makes no fucking sense. Like, it hits him, and like it's still like tackling into him. It's like no, the physics doesn't work that way. His momentum is gone. I was just like that. Looking back at it, like specifically, it looked pretty terrible. I thought
it did. Like
it did look terrible.
Yeah, the eagle flying.
Like, we roll around with this stuffed fucking chicken.
Yeah.
So that just threw me. I'm like, wait a second, they can't train an eagle to attack. Just had me, but then I just was watching. I'm like, that's a fucking eagle.
It was a great eagle to work with.
Yeah,
because it's a fucking stuffed animal.
And I will admit I was wrong the other night during our live stream about when Jon rode off. I'm not going to, because I'm not sure if Abby was on, if we were talking about that. So I'm not going to continue on so I don't spoil anything.
You were wrong.
But I was wrong. I was incorrect about something. So I was right from the book, wrong from the show.
Exactly. There's a lot of those in this episode specifically, which we'll talk about another day.
Yeah.
I really liked whenever they had the horse rancher on the ground and Tormund walks up to him and it's like, let's throw that knife away. It's not going to save you now. And the rancher asks, can I at least get on my feet? And I like that Tormund actually let him do that, because it's easy for him to just be like, oh, no, knife, done. Like, just kill the guy. But
done.
He lets the guy die with some dignity. And I think that was really interesting from these savages, quote unquote, that they still have some, human fucking decency. Like, let the guy die on his feet. And because it was just cool if I thought that they'd let them do that.
Honor, honor bound.
And then that when the fight actually starts up, Tormund kind of takes Ygritte off to the side a little bit, kind of tackles her and kind of wrangles her up and gets her.
Well, Jon shoved her off first.
Well,
and then
when she was on, but basically Tormund kind of goes after her after Jon shoves her off to the side to make sure she doesn't get in the fight, basically. And Tormund is like just almost like bear hugging her to like force her to see, like, these are the fucking choices that he's making right now. Like, start dealing with it right now, because if you make a stupid choice and you get killed because of a stupid fucking choice, unfortunately, I can't do anything else about that.
Exactly. So there's another Thunder Rolls. Thunder Rolls. Anybody got anything else for this scene?
I do.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go
I was
ahead.
interrupted. Not by you. But, so, you might have touched on it. I don't know. I walked away. Ygritte, at the very beginning of Jon being called, see, he's still a crow, she stands at his defense. And Jon pushes her away, which I don't really know if I'm surprised by that. I think, like you said earlier, it's kind of those two. And then there's the wildlings, and then there's the Night's Watch, but those two. I was very surprised that it would have just been Tormund that he had to overcome, at least from my viewing, and him and Ygritte could ride off together.
Yeah.
Why? Like, why, Jon? I don't understand. I get that he's a man of the Night's Watch, and that brings a whole level of questions or things to figure out, but she stood there in defense of you. Like, that hurts me for her. I feel, heart's broken for it. My next thought is, had that been, like, you didn't realize that that was Summer and Shaggy Dog, like the wolves? Like, you know you have two great allies sitting right there. It's not like some random wolves or dire wolves are hanging out there. You know exactly who these two are, and you're just gonna ride away with one person that's gonna come after you. Like, I just find it like, and Shaggy Dog and, Summer are there. Obviously, there's probably a Stark nearby, like, would be my thought. So I just was a little questioning. I don't know, get out of Dodge. That's always a good tactic. But my overall thoughts on that, I was surprised that he didn't search for his family.
Yeah, again, it was the get out of Dodge kind of. He didn't pay that much attention. He just saw, I take it as he saw a wolf go and take out, whoever. He probably didn't process that, oh, that's a fucking direwolf. Oh, wait, direwolves haven't been south of the wall for 100 years. Oh, wait, except for the 5 or 6
that I found.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he probably didn't
I
process it that
the white one
quickly.
game.
I don't know. Maybe you're right. I mean,
because I made kind of the same point of, with it, how would he know which dogs they are? But then you guys brought it up, and it's like,
it's a
there's only been,
direwolf.
there's only been 6 fucking dire wolves in the last 100 years. So yeah, you would make sense. So that thought does make sense. But yeah, I think it was he just probably didn't process it.
Yep.
So, all right.
And he doesn't really know anything.
No.
So
You could say he maybe potentially knows nothing. Debatable.
sure.
All right, final scene in The Gift. We have Bran, Osha, Rickon, Mira, Jojen, and a still sleeping Hodor. And cheers to Hodor. Hodor. All right, Bran sends Osha, Rickon, and Shaggy Dog away to stay with the Umbers to protect them as he and the others are heading past the wall. So they did specifically say here, Osha does say to Rickon, we're going to go to the Umbers, and
They'll teach you to fight with a sword.
Yeah.
I know how to fight with a sword.
God, he's so annoying.
I thought that little actor did great.
I thought
right
it was
there.
great. Every time he's been on, Benji has whinged
Really?
about him.
Well,
I don't know
so
why.
my
I don't know
other thought-
what it is about him.
One, his writing
He's a cute
lines, the lines he's given aren't the greatest because he's a little kid. How old is he in real life? What, 6, 7, 8? Just him to be able to command. I don't know. I find him charming because he's supposed to be this little brother. And I don't know. He's
I
cute.
know. I don't know. It's completely unreasonable, my annoyance with him. I own that, and I know that. It just, I don't know what it is. He just annoys me. And it's not the actor. He does his lines, and I think it might be the writing, or because because the kid's probably 10 years old by this point. The actor himself is probably 10 years old, 9, 10, but they're still writing him like a 3-year-old, 3 or 4-year-old, because that's what he is in the books.
Okay,
and
I
so
can see
that I think, because everybody else took the age up that they're getting, he's being stuck as this tiny
the
little
infant or toddler, whatever, little baby guy.
So I think that's probably my main issue with it, is because everybody else aged up and he wasn't allowed to, so.
Yep. Well, if we're talking about things we have issue with, does anybody else not like Jojen?
I like Jojen.
Do you?
I don't hate him. I don't really
indifferent
like him either. So
I feel like he is that guy who's like, I'm gonna be vague to look like I'm smart. I don't know if that makes sense, and I don't have a ton of experience with Jojen yet, so I'm trying to hold out my thoughts and feelings, but sometimes, I feel like he's like, do it, Bran, do it. I'm like, quit being a pushy little fucker. Bran will do it when he wants to, and I get, you have to try to hone people, but I guess maybe coming from a child or a kid Bran's own age, how is he, apparently his own age, who even knows if that's real right now. but who is trying to be like this authoritative or knowing figure is being hard for me to like swallow. Like somebody to be this person you look to for advice. And I don't know. I just having issues with him, I guess.
Sure, I think that's fair, but he's in a pretty tough spot himself. You know, he doesn't have the answers, but he's got some ideas. You know, he's got some experience with a little bit of what Bran's going on, but not everything. But he's also the only resource that Bran has, and he's looked to as an expert in this, and he's not. He wants to be. He wants to help, and he knows he has to push Bran every once in a while, but he doesn't know what to do. He needs to drink more.
I think maybe that's a good philosophy. I think maybe that's what I was missing before, was that he also, like, he acknowledges he doesn't necessarily know, but maybe has experienced more of this stuff. So all of a sudden he is the expert when he's like, really, I just kind of saw some things a couple times and now I'm supposed to know. That makes sense.
It's like, oh, you played Quiplash once on Johnny's stream? Guess what? You're an expert now. No.
I'm going to win every time.
All right. Glenn, what's your thoughts on?
Yeah, so basically Osha, ever since, Maester Lewin died, it was like basically her kind of goal or whatever to keep the boys safe, kind of like a Brienne, promise.
I stopped watching the World Cup today to play Quiplash. Just want to throw that out there.
You missed PKs.
Oh, I saw. Did the second game go into PKs?
Yep.
Damn. All right. Don't tell me what happened.
It was a good one.
It happened.
Anyways, yeah, Osha seems like this is kind of the turning point where she kind of has given up on protecting Bran. He just won't comply. So it's almost like her next goal is to keep Rickon safe. That's the main.
She kind of has to almost cut her losses. She's like, it's almost not worth the fight at this point.
Just keep arguing and fuck it.
It's like if he's dead set on
you
doing
guys have
this,
to do your thing.
Yeah.
I'll keep this other one safe.
So one of the conversations that Jojen kind of has here is, you warred into Hodor, and Bran's like, I mean, that can't be that uncommon, right? Because to him it came so unfortunately and scarily easy. He's like, I have no idea what to do. Oh, I'll just warg into him on accident. And so he's like, they can't do that north of the wall. And Jojen's like, no one can do that anywhere. It was just, I don't know. It's a scary spot for Bran to be in. And I don't think he realizes the depth of where he's at talent-wise in this. And that raw, unfettered talent can be pretty dangerous, I think.
Exactly. No, absolutely. My only real notes on the scene is it was a sweet goodbye from Osha and Rickon. And Osha even conceding to Mira, saying, take care of this one. He means a lot to me. And like I said, conceding to her, saying, I know you can do it. I know you can take care of him. You can watch him. You can protect him. So I have to protect this one. We need to go. And it was a sweet goodbye, and that's where I had my little note. I don't know what it is about that kid, but god damn it. No, but even his goodbye was a sweet, kind of, trying at being older. So, all right, we got some more beers. We are going to do our sigil giveaway for this episode. The one we did before was actually for episode 4. Sorry, I did not mention that before. Whoa. So we're doing the second giveaway of this episode. Glenn, you got the numbers. Go ahead and draw one.
While he's doing that, weather check. It's raining its dick off out there.
No shit. Oh, all right. Just about to pick one. We have lucky number 26.
Oh, good number.
Which is
a good number.
Chalice on a green and red checky background.
Oh.
No, it's just the sigil is green and the badge outline is red.
All right. Christmas chalice.
Awesome. So I do want to take a moment, though, really quick, and for those who don't know, we started up a Patreon.
There's a whole note about that later. We can talk about it now. Let's talk about it now.
Well, I figured talk about it now.
Let's be sure to tweet a picture of your winning sticker at No One
let
Drink
him finish his sigil
to claim your prize.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Tweet a picture if you have that winning sticker from Ice and Firecon. And I think for season 4, hopefully we can get more stickers out to more people. Especially you guys here in the chat. Let us know if you want one, and you can get in on the giveaways.
Okay. Yeah. I did not see the
go ahead and do
note, but
go for it.
All right. So officially launched today. We have a new Patreon, and we want you to join. And we want you to join the podcastthat.com's Imaginary Legion. For as little as $1 a month, you can join the ranks of the Legion. Go to patreon.com/stayimaginary to see how you can start getting exclusive content and other goodies today. And for all the ways you can keep our beer bank full, check out our podcast, thepodcastthat.com/support us page. But I wanted to give a shout out for our Patreon because we do have a Patreon that qualifies. She already signed up this morning. I know it's Bailey, but I know you know the official call out of
at Riddles Reviews here in the chat.
Yes,
and
our very first,
and also Terrence in the chat. Those were our first two patrons, and we could not thank you guys more. And tell your friends.
Yeah. So, like I said, we had a nice little break in our narration because we're getting to an open discussion. This is I left it
from the chat real quick.
Yeah.
We got a question on how this giveaway ticket thing works, and that's a great question because unless you were at Ice and FireCon, you wouldn't have seen these. But we have a bunch of these stickers that are. I'll hold one or two of them up. Well, of course they're Spuds Mackenzie's because we have a shit ton of those left. So they vary in the sigil and the sigil color and the background color. So we're calling out these 3 different items, completely randomized. And we will get you guys all. Send us an email at knowanddrink@gmail.com with your addresses, and we'll get shit sent out to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if we need more, which would be an amazing problem to have, we'll make some fucking more.
Yeah,
we'll make some regular more too.
I'll make more.
Hey, Abby, start making more.
Okay.
So the reason I said that or did all that because I left this whole bottom section open to the Red Wedding. We are back at the Twins for our final scene. It was a long final scene. It was a 15 to 16 minute final scene.
Every episode we have one of these.
We do. But this is at the Twins. It's Rob, Kat, Roos, Edmere, Blackfish, girl from the show. I'll give her Talisa for her final. Walder.
If you haven't figured out, that's who girl from show is.
Arya, the Hound, Greywind, and a shit ton of Freys and sacrificial North Hams.
I like how Abby just completely overfilled her glass for this. Just, wine bottle. Just get the funnel out.
But, so I'm leaving it an open discussion. It's a nice day for a red wedding. My first note, I'll just go with this, is second time we have a dead Ned.
Yeah.
Because Talisa basically just told Rob, well, if it's a son, if it's a boy, I know what we're going to name him. And he's like, what?
Shouldn't the dad have some say?
Yeah, shouldn't
it's fucking Eddard.
Yeah, don't you want to teach Eddard how to ride horses, young Eddard?
Yeah. So I rewatched today with Joe, and that whole little part comes up right there. Don't you think the dad should have something to say? And I'm like, dude, fuck you. Like, I'm carrying this baby. You can just shut up and just ride your line, bro.
I mean, the dad has to put up with you for 9 months. Jesus.
Deal with it, bro. That's all I gotta say. And then I looked at Joe, who is my husband, and we have had 3 children together. I was like, I'm sorry, that's probably that little like harsh or a little bit my own anger coming out. But I'm like, you ever said some shit like that? Yeah, your ass would be on the ground too. Like, real quick. It's like, okay.
I've already named it Lionel Richie Stark.
Lionel Richie Baratheon. Jerry curl of hair.
Yeah.
All night long of hair.
All night long.
I will say, immediately when Rob married Talisa, I really liked her. I thought it was a good match. I believed him, like they were in love. It was cute, and I was all for it, but I thought it was a mistake. I think you're supposed to. And then I watched kind of like the after show stuff, and they're like, I think everybody knows their guard's like kind of supposed to be up, but the wedding does seem so like happy and light and fun, and all of a sudden like those doors closed. And I'm like, why the fuck are they closing the doors? And we are like two counts into Reigns of Castamere, and I was like, no.
Dem Castamere.
I'm done.
Dem Reigns.
And so for listeners at home, the ones that didn't catch our live stream, that is specifically why every time that song since season 2 has been played that I mentioned it was
we know.
I'm saying
we know.
This is for the podcast.
Glenn and I were making fun of you earlier.
Yeah, I know, but this is for the podcast people because
I instilled this in Abby each time.
Yes. because
Castamere. The Reigns of Castamere. I mean, I think you should have been confident when I told you I heard a guy at Walmart whistling in it.
I did, and after that, I don't think I mentioned it again.
So if it happened to you like this weekend, do you think it would have felt differently about it if you heard him whistling the Reigns of Castamere in aisle over? You're like, I'm getting the fuck out.
I would have walked over
dog food
into
can
like the
fucking
dog
wait.
food aisle. And I'm like, fuck you! I just watched the Red Wedding. Go screw yourself.
Take your whistling and go fuck yourself.
Whistling Vixie.
And too much.
So whenever they went and closed the doors, that was Lothar Frey. Same way we saw earlier when they were setting up this marriage proposal, and he was not limping this time. I was disappointed because that's supposed to be lame Lothar with a club foot, basically. It's just like,
he's the one that was sitting next to Lisa, right? Like when they kind of panned, he was sitting right next to her, like kind of dark haired with a goatee.
Yeah, kind of a pointy goatee.
Yeah,
you got the McPoyle hat on.
Yes.
But I was just a little disappointed. I was like, they did such a good job at incorporating that earlier. Like, how are you going to drop that out now? When I don't know. Yeah, it's a guy in the background. Like, just go close the fucking doors. But I don't know. It just seemed like a easy miss.
Yeah. So
opportunities
next
squandered.
Notes?
Yeah. So they talk about the betting, right? And Talisa, girl from show, is like, that's a really fucked up, like weird thing you guys got going on around here. And Rob's like, yeah. I guess it is kind of odd if you're a foreigner. And so then later on,
we do.
Kat is talking to Roose Bolton about it at this, like kind of in the same little portion of this long fucking scene. And Roose is like, yeah, you probably enjoyed your betting too, right? You know, it's funny, but
every bride enjoys the same fear and pain or something,
right? And she was like, nope, Ned forbade it.
Yeah,
I just thought that was interesting that. I don't know. It's good to see that. I believe that out of Ned entirely.
Yeah. No, and we saw that actually last episode. Saw the same thing of Tyrion forbidding Sansa's betting. You know,
I think it was a source of pride for Catelyn that happened for her. Like that's what my husband did for me. It doesn't always have to happen. Talisa's this would seem strange for a foreigner. I think she wanted to be like, bitch, this is strange for anybody. What the hell is going on?
Exactly.
We're just typing notes about you. No, Chrissy of Oldstones has to head out, but we appreciate you stopping in, Chrissy, as always.
So, and thanks for stopping by.
So the Reigns of Castamere start, and Frey calls.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Yeah. Frey calls Rob, my lord,
but
come here.
But maybe thanks for stopping by.
Yeah. But more importantly, stay classy.
Words have been said, drink has been drank, and
a sword needs a sheath.
And the sword needs a sheath. You're right. And then after I'm going to the next scene, or the very next part, the doors are closed. And he's like, my lord or my king. And he turns around and I still need to give you a gift. Or I haven't given my queen a gift. That's what it was. I haven't given the new queen a gift. And at that moment comes around and fucking like 7 or 8 stabs right to her gut. That's the part that got me, because coming up to this whole scene, I knew it was coming. I'd read the books. I knew what was, I read the books. I actually was spoiled before the books came out. So I knew about the scene. So I was kind of looking forward to it because I'd been annoyed with Kat and everything. But that got me. I'm sitting there watching the scene. I'm like, holy shit. I probably looked as dumbfounded as you, Ab.
Yeah,
I'm sure. And you were found quite dumb.
Success.
But that's right
what
there.
You don't know is I've seen all the episodes for the every season. It was just an act.
She really hasn't.
Yeah.
Disclaimer, she hasn't.
I'm just joking.
But because that's the change, from the literary version to the screen, because girl from the show is girl from the show. She was brought, so she was killed, which I wasn't expecting, because I was under the impression she was a spy. I will say this. I can say this now.
Girl from show.
I thought she was spying, because every time we saw her, she'd writing notes, and then like the very next scene, Tywin's opening up notes. And you're like,
oh no.
So I honestly was fully anticipating, she's a spy. She, that's how they're going to play it, and cool. Nope. She got fucking shanked like a prison bitch. It was like, oh.
And Rich just pointed out the comment that I was like, right before this all happens, where they have the gift, Kat is sitting there with Roose Bolton, and they kind of make eye contact her, and he kind of has his hand sitting on the table. And he kind of looks down at his hand, and then she looks down at his hand, and then she lifts back his, like the end of his sleeve and sees the chainmail, and she's like, "You piece of shit!" Like, and then just slaps him, and then just yells for Rob, and that's when shit starts
to hit the
hitting
fan.
the literal fan.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you go after the
metaphysical
baby
thing.
first is just, shows intent that's just so malicious and hurtful, and there's no coming back from it. I literally watched that whole scene there's a couple parts. So I think of it as Rob and Talisa, Catelyn, and Arya and the Hound.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I see everything. And for the Rob and Talisa part, when he crawls everything over to her, and she's dead. She's definitely dead. You can see all of him just leave. He's still alive and breathing, but he's done. And then if we want to move a little bit further, I don't know if you want to or not, but we see Catelyn and, she rips that girl, his wife, from under the table by her hair, biggest boss.
Drags her out.
She's like, you know
Pretty
what?
hardcore.
I might have a broken leg, broken spine.
I've got a couple
I'm actually a
corals into my
paraplegic
back.
at this point, but I'm going to stand up and rip this chick out from underneath this table by her hair where she can't even defend, stand up. And she yells, "Enough." And she looks at Rob and she says, "Stand up." Just all of her will. You can feel all of her just willing him to stand and get out of here. And then they don't allow it. It was just, I'm like, oh my gosh.
And why would I allow that?
She's just, yeah, I know. Why would I do that? Oh, kill her. He's so
I'll get a
grimy
new one.
and he's so terrible. I know.
Then did you know? Well, I'm sure you did. But when Roose approached Rob at that moment,
What do you mean?
what did he say?
I don't know if I caught it. Maybe as you say it, I will. I don't know if I did though.
Roose approached Rob
Lannisters.
and basically says, "The Lannisters send their regards."
Oh, yes,
Okay,
yes.
A recycled
Sorry,
line
I
from
was.
the show.
Yeah, and he says that, and Kat tries to leverage the damage, and on my honor as a Tully, I will slit her throat. And he does his whole thing. And even though she realizes he doesn't care, he really doesn't. This is not a bargaining chip that he cares to lose or cares anything about. She still slits that girl's throat with zero fucks.
That's what you got to do.
None were given.
Yeah. It's the quite literal least she could do at that point to have some, malediction here. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So let's talk about Arya and Hound
let's-
for a second. They showed up the doors, and Hound's like, "I'm here with pork for the feast."
Feast is over.
It's over. Well, what the fuck am I supposed to do with all this pork? Are you-
I also have pork.
I got pig's feet
Are you
too.
soft in the head?
Yes.
this
second
giant
one-
As
fucking
Arya
guy.
slips away.
But this Gatesman or whatever comes out. Yeah, he might not recognize the Hound. This is a big fucking guy who's got just this little shawl on over his fucking chainmail. This guy does not have the balls to walk up to anyone looking like that.
Little
That's
Red Riding Hood.
I'm just not buying it.
Yeah. Yeah,
If there were 3 Gatesmen, that'd have been a little different.
exactly. No, I agree. And then, but next
Resident
scene,
badass.
Arya slips away, but she finds Greywood kenneled up.
Yeah,
And she's about to go get him.
She starts heading over there and witnesses, basically the wolf being shot with quarreled up, if you will. And I don't know, I don't think she could have any more confirmation that this is really bad than seeing specifically that. I mean, other than being in the hall, seeing what's fucking going down in there in the club.
So while I was watching,
going down.
it was kind of weird because I was just watching this on my computer and I didn't see anybody or hear anybody. But I remember saying go get the wolves. And it was no, just hide. It felt that intense. Go get them because they're going to kill them. And then you see the swarm and I'm like, no, Arya, please just hide. Please. I'm really happy that she ended up not dead to our knowledge at this point, I guess you could say, because we don't really know, but to our knowledge, she's in the Hound's hands.
Yeah.
I also, the second time through when I was watching today, I kept watching to hear if you could hear Reigns of Castamere as they were approaching, in the cart.
Mhm.
You couldn't, because I do think, if you could have just slightly heard that, if she could have just slightly picked that up with everything she's been through, she would have known immediately shit is wrong.
Well, they stopped playing it right before they stabbed Lisa. Walter called for the music to stop and everything. So Yeah, but no, exactly. If she would have heard that, she would have probably.
And right before all this happens, Blackfish has to go pee.
Luckiest piss in the world.
Yeah, I think that was my note, but no big deal.
Oh, sorry, Glenn.
Oh shit! I didn't.
I'm just waiting for that one, but yeah,
Go ahead,
I guess I'll just sit in the corner.
read your notes.
So
Hold on, let's do a clap. Luke, edit this out. Glenn, what are your thoughts?
Hey, Glenn.
So the Blackfish and Cat are talking, and Cat's just like, the whole time, the whole ride up here, he was pissing and moaning about, this whole wedding bullshit. And now, like, he finds his hot wife or whatever now, and then now he just can't get enough of her or whatever. And then, the Blackfish, his response is, the gods love to reward a fool. Like, he's my nephew, I love him, I guess, but he is still a fool. So, then he just, I gotta take a leak, so, I'll be back. But, I think in the books, he's not even there, though.
Who? Blackfish?
Blackfish.
He was at the wedding.
There.
He
It's almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
I mean, that actually.
No, he's in, he stayed back at River Run.
There's.
Oh, okay.
There's other Northmen that are there that are
maybe
not.
it's the Umbers.
The Umbers are there, yeah.
Maybe
Great John.
Great John. I know there was one that was. I don't want to get into it, but there was one phrase supposed to get him drunk. I had to outdrink him, and Great John outdrank like 3 of them.
Right.
Drink 3 of them under the table. But yeah, okay. That might be who I'm thinking of.
I think in the books, Roos is the one that goes and takes the piss, and then he comes back with his chainmail.
He's all chainmailed.
Chainmail. Chat, figure it out for us. Tell us who's right, who's wrong.
I'm gonna go with Glenn.
I'm sure Glenn's right about Blackfish not being there, but who went to take a piss?
I better go turn my light on. It's getting dark over here.
Yeah. So, all right. So we have Arya, finishing up with Arya 2. She gets knocked out by the Hound. Again, I like that they showed who knocked her out, because before book-wise, it's like everything goes black. She feels a shot to her head, and she's like, oh, and just falls out like, oh, fuck, who got a hold of her? At least this way we know it's the Hound. He's gonna do something to protect her. But, so we kind of already discussed, kind of ran through everything kind of in an ass-backwards way. Luke can edit this to make it all fit perfectly, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as your train of thought goes on, it just jumps. Like this whole scene is just mind blowing because, like you said, you even said like you knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was coming, but there has been things throughout that makes me very leery of Walter Frey. I knew it was bad, and now we're all coming here acting like we're okay. My guard has been up, but to see this unfold like to this extreme, I'm all over the place with it. Like that's like what. Where do we go from here?
You'll have to wait till next week to find out.
Oh, stay tuned.
Yeah.
So anybody got anything else on the Red Wedding itself?
No, I mean, there's definitely some changes from the book, but I do think they've done a good job at...
The premise is the same.
Yeah, they get to all the same overall major points, and I think the way it's shot is very well done, very dramatic, very cutting your heart into little tiny pieces, like what the... like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
And then they close out the show with no music over the credits. You have Kat getting her throat slit and silence.
Right. Just drink it all in or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Suck on that. Just
sit here in silence. Enjoy the silence.
Look at the credits and don't say anything.
Like, not usually, but sometimes we have music. Sometimes there's just different kinds of stuff. It's not always the same, which is fun and refreshing. Yeah. But here, that just like void of anything because you're just sitting there.
Heavy silence, isn't it? Real heavy.
Yes.
And because the second time watching through, first time, like I said, I was in shock and had to go get a couple shots. But the second time watching through, I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this. And I think this is where they play the Reigns of Castamere again. And the closing credits, because it would make sense being the title of the episode, they would play the song again. And no, it hits that dead silence, and you're like, oh, damn, I didn't even notice it. Because as soon as the credits started, I took my headphones off and fucking went to the bar. But the second time watching it, I was like, oh, shit, damn, that's powerful.
Bleak.
Yeah.
It's bleak.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, we are going to go to episode title accuracy, The Reigns of Castamere.
Yep.
Yeah, played the song.
Yeah, I think the title is definitely fitting because they played The Reigns of Castamere, but also, like, obviously you couldn't name it like The Red Wedding just to
Well, and
spoil any potential spoilers.
And then if you think back to
beforehand.
if you think back to last episode when Cersei, describes what the Reigns of Castamere story actually is, this is the second most powerful house in Westeros.
In the north.
Well, in all the Seven Kingdoms, they're the second most powerful. The Starks are the most powerful. Second most, they're not the wealthiest, but they're the second most powerful family behind the Lannisters. Depending on who's
right now?
Yeah,
Sure.
at this moment.
Sure.
So they're being wiped out, because the only one left, or only two left that the Lannisters, one that the Lannisters know about is Sansa. Everyone else is dead.
And
They
have
assume
their
Arya's
finger
dead,
on
and
her.
yeah, so it's wiped out. So the title in that aspect too is a bit fitting.
Yeah, and there's also, in the scenes that we have Jon and Tormund, it was raining like the whole time. So
True. Well, no,
and it's fitting because it's raining its
It's
ass off
raining
here
now.
while we're recording. So
Yeah.
I mean, how fitting can it
Rains,
get, folks? For the kids at home, it's raining.
It's raining and it rains.
So, all right, we're going to description
And it's
accuracy. House Freys join voices with the Tullys. Jon faces his most difficult test yet.
I guess they joined forces. I don't. It's kind of a weird way to say that.
Weird way of
And it's
saying
most diff-
there's a wedding
honestly,
between a Tully and a Frey.
I would
They
put,
joined houses.
yeah,
I think that'd be a safer way of putting it. But
yeah.
Join forces.
And then, like with Jon, I think having to take on fucking Corhan, or
Corn half hand.
Corn Half Hand, yeah, having to take him on and killing him, I think that's a tougher challenge. Then, he's legitimately having to kill one of his sworn brothers.
Well, he's literally fighting like 4 or 5 different people right here too.
But he's done that before.
There were a couple
this
seconds.
is easy. This is easy. He just goes along with the plan here. He lives, and Corn Halfhand's plan still lives. Everything is still intact. His test was, do you pick that easier route? Corn Halfhand's plan is still intact. You're still a wildling. Everything is still good to go, and you exit gracefully. Or do you test it here and say, I will not kill this man? That's just where I go with him being tested. Because Corrin basically said to him, you need to do this to me. Make them believe.
Mm-hmm. I think it's also a test of his heart. I think he has fallen for Ygritte too. It's not just me around here that fell for her. It's, and I think he does care about her a lot. Not, and
I'll fight you for her.
we don't want to have that fight again. You don't want to have that fight again.
You're right.
But
You're right.
I think the test of his emotions there is a big part of it as well. So,
And that's fair. Was kind of going with the kind of same thing, tested his emotions with Corrin.
And really growing up, I think Ned instilled a lot of values in him, and this is definitely going against a lot of that. So
family matters.
Start
Urkel.
with Urkel. Carl.
Did I
think
do
there was
that?
a show about that. Yeah.
I had
Ringing
the
a
thought
bell.
that only me and Steve Urkel would have. Did I do that?
So, all right, we're going to move on to our favorite and least favorite things. We will start with least favorite, Glenn.
So I guess they're not going to take Castaway Rock.
That plan was thwarted.
There goes that. Yeah, I was looking
Foiled
forward to that.
again.
Abby, what was your least favorite thing?
My least favorite thing was that Tywin didn't stop the Red Wedding. No, I'm just kidding. That's just because I always wish Tywin would stop
The
everything.
dance.
Yeah. My least favorite thing, basically the last 15 minutes of the entire episode. It's kind of hard to have a least favorite. I don't like that the direwolf got killed. If he would have stayed alive, then maybe Rob would somehow spiritually. I think we had that conversation once, be in the wolf.
Mm-hmm.
I think the direwolf being killed is my least favorite thing.
So this is like a least favorite thing by design.
Yes,
you're
by
supposed
design,
to not like these.
Yeah.
Yes, not because this was like.
It's not like I didn't
stupid
enjoy
or
this.
throwaway.
This is shitty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if the direwolf could have stayed alive, I would have been cool.
Yeah. So, go ahead.
No, that's it. Just how Luke described it is how I mean it. Not least favorite thing, this was a throwaway scene or stupid that it happened or whatever.
Gotcha. Mine, actually, I really didn't have a least favorite. I do like all of this episode is one of my favorite ones, not because of what happens, just the way it's done. But if I had to pick something, it's Dany fangirling over Daario, kind of shoving aside Jorah and Grey Worm and just that it annoys me.
I can get down with that, Ben.
Where's Daario?
Yeah. So
My least favorite thing is it's just limitations of the show. It's just a game of consolidation. And it's not even like, I think they did a good job doing this. I want the unabridged video version of the books, but that's just not going to fucking happen.
Exactly.
Like, so I know that, but I would love to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's my only.
Unless we get enough, Patreon.
And then we'll just,
then we'll do it.
We'll produce it. We'll put that as one of our goals.
Yeah, what, a $15,000 patron?
Well, we're going by numbers of patrons for our goals, so maybe like 50 million patrons.
We'll make a stick figure flip book of the whole thing.
I feel like that would be doable.
It's doable. Yeah. So, all right,
We can put that on Abby's
No, I don't.
Cockadoodles YouTube page.
The cockadoodle.
No.
6 to
6 to
midnight.
midnight.
All right. We're going to move on to favorite things. I'm going to start this one because it is kind of weird, but I'm going with Red Wedding.
So no one else can like the Red Wedding.
Well, no, I mean, everybody else can if you want to, but I'm going with not because Cat died, because I know that's what you fuckers probably thought.
Thank God that cunt's gone, is what Benji's saying.
It was well done. It was so well done. It was, more than what I had expected my first time through, and even this time through. Except for Friday night when I'm sitting here with these two assholes and we're watching it with no sound on, just laughing our asses off at Abby. Every time I watch it, there's still that kind of heart pang for one scene or another. It could be Talisa, it could be Grey One, could be Catelyn. Rob, it hasn't gotten the twang yet. But the major deaths that you see, it was well fucking done. So that's why I'm going with it. And
I'm going to go Red Wedding as well. Honestly, I think it's just really well done. Sorry, Abby.
You're good. I have a question to throw to you after you're finished, Luke.
Okay. I think they do a good job with it, even though this is kind of tied with my least favorite thing. It's just the limitations of the show. What they do with it, I think, works for the narrative that they're telling, which is slightly different, and that's fine. We're definitely getting to points where you can't tell every extrapolated story that's within this novel or series of novels. So to keep it functional as a TV series, I think they make good choices at this point on several things, and I think they do a good job with this.
So my question to you, Luke, is I don't know if
So you just drank?
No, you're right. I will. I want to really hard grill good old Sly McLean over there about what his issue is with Cat.
A lot of people have a lot of issues with Cat.
I fundamentally, and maybe it's because I'm not a book reader. I don't know if this needs to go somewhere else because I don't know if it's going to extend, but just first time watching through, this is the end of her, at least as I know for this point. I have a very hard time with why are we so angry with her? I don't understand, because to me, she has been a devoted mother, a devoted wife, badass beyond belief. And there's so many hostilities that I don't understand.
Okay, he's back. You have to stop talking about him now.
Got it. Okay. So I don't know if we need to do a Sly versus Gertie questions and answers.
Debate.
okay.
Debate? Yeah, I think we could do a debate. Hillary versus Donald. That's fine. I'll wear a pantsuit. It's fine.
I'll get a spray tan.
Perfect. So, yeah, I just to me, I always thought we would go on season 5, 6, 7, and there would be something that I'd be like, oh, yeah, you're right.
That
bitch. Nasty bitch. Yes. It just never came.
Okay.
So,
and that's fair. It's more of, I don't know what it is. My annoyance you're talking about my cat, anger.
Yeah,
Not anger, just
I hate cats.
Multiple people who feel that way. They have this hostility towards her. And I
We're talking Catelyn.
said, I just don't understand where it comes from.
a few things. I'll do a quick run through. First is she's the one that told Ned you have to go to King's Landing. And hang on, I know, out of honor.
I'll walk out of there and do my eye rolling.
This is why I said this might need to go somewhere else.
I'll walk out of there.
I know.
This is a discussion for another day.
It is, but basically,
two more points.
This time through, as you've noticed, Ab, I have softened a lot from season 1 to now on Cat and all that. Comparatively,
on Cat and that
she doesn't annoy because on this watch through I've also been doing the read throughs a lot, and I've been focusing a lot on her chapters and the chapters that annoyed me when I was first reading them and everything like that. So I'm a little less angry or less, whatever at her, this time through. My first time through, I found her boring because I wanted Rob's perspective. I wanted that. I wanted, Catelyn is, yeah, fine. It's the mother character that just was like, come on, you're fucking boring and you're giving bad advice for different shit, you know, taking Tyrion and all that, bad advice on different
He
things.
hates Jon Snow.
So it's the initial from the first book annoyance that carried through to here that I had the problem with. But again, on this time through, I'm rewatching and taking my time with it, and you know, so I'm giving her more room.
That's probably fair too, because I think as just a mom in general, I'm always going to take that slant automatically. I'm always going to take that point of view, and I don't know. I just wonder, like. And like Luke said, you're not the only person who has issues with her. To me, I'm like,
we'll have
dude,
a lot to talk about.
She died a hero.
Once we go through the books, which after season 8, we'll do that. So we'll
right,
reevaluate and re-debate then.
Sorry.
No, we're moving along.
All right. So Glenn, did you get to give your favorite thing?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
My favorite thing is this is just another watershed moment, I guess, where it's like not all of these storylines are going to be happy, and kind of makes the show unpredictable. You're going to have to keep your head on a swivel. You know, it's just not. Sometimes it's just not. It's going to knock you down a peg as a viewer. And you know, that's something that I like. It's just not like a predictable storyline where, you know, the good guys win and the bad guys lose.
Yeah, I mean, there are some people that have like plot armor or whatever, but not everybody. And some of the main characters don't. It's you're gonna lose big good characters. You're gonna lose big bad characters. It's just you don't know, and that's
real life.
what makes it a
more
good story.
realistic.
It's realistic. It's exciting.
Exactly. Abby, did you get to give your favorite?
No, I'm going to take it down a peg here. So my very favorite thing that happens in this entire episode is when Hound says to Arya, "They're still there," and she says, "I know they're still there," and he looks at her and he's like, "You check every 5 minutes." It's like such a again, Maisie with her acting beyond her years. Yeah. I think just going toe to toe with these great actors. They're like a married couple. Like they're just like this, like nagging, like back and forth, and they do it multiple times within their scenes together. But that one to me is so funny. The next one that was a close second was when she does tell him about, they're not going to believe you're a pig farmer if you eat all of them. And he rattles the pig foot at her. Like, it's the best part. Like, what are you going to do about it? They're funny. So that was that was the best part of the whole show.
Nice.
The rest of it, not so great.
Overall, pretty damn good episode.
Yeah,
I thought.
Pretty damn terrible.
Yeah,
Pretty well done episode.
Terribly.
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Top
Fantastic.
5, well done. Definitely up to this point, top 3.
It's easily in the top 67 episodes.
Top 30, top 30,
top
right now.
67
or 29,
this
without
is
a fucking
the best
doubt.
episode
Definitely
I
top
have seen.
67.
Okay, see there. Thank you, Ab.
And I would say, like, Ned being best is not the word I want, but like most striking or most impactful. The Ned heading, maybe heading.
Yeah.
That would be like number 2, like that type of holy shitness on the list. This one tops it because the Ned stuff I saw coming more. Mm-hmm. This one I not saw coming, but I was like, it's a little hairy going in there. I'm a little on guard, but to have on guard. And hey, for real, what question right here? Where's Serial Pharrell? And where's Benjen? Who knows?
These are the questions.
We don't.
But
these are the questions of our lives.
I feel like Rich Shatwell called this out. It was either on Twitter or in the chat while you were doing your live reaction video on Friday.
Yes.
But you are officially, I think we can claim it, officially no longer a sweet summer child.
No.
You've made it through the Red Wedding.
Yeah.
And if you want to continue
you're now
on,
an autumn babe.
Then
hey, I like autumn.
Then I think you're in the club now.
Yeah. Yeah,
because this is a big one. This is definitely.
If you make it through Ned, if you make it through Baylor and Reigns of Castamere, you're in. I mean, there's not much else to it. So
it definitely was a big one.
So all right, Iris jumped the promo thing. So we're gonna go to our first time watch on the wall prediction. Abby made some predictions on Friday night. We're gonna stick with the same ones, Ab. Correct?
Yeah, I'm sticking completely.
All right.
Ready?
So whenever you're ready.
All right. It's a little dark in my room, sorry.
Red Wedding Survivor.
Nice, Iontron.
You know what? Let me write that down real quick. I'll just make myself a t-shirt that says that.
Yeah.
Hashtag Red Wedding Survivor.
Hashtag.
I
and then,
the Red
see,
Wedding.
those are...
And all I got was the shitty t-shirt.
It should have like red marks, like stab wounds.
Quarrels coming through the
There
bag. Holes in the bag.
That's really funny.
Proceed.
A wolf's head.
25% cut goes to Iron Throne.
If you would also like a Red Wedding Survivor t-shirt, let us know. I'll make you one. So prediction number one. I believe that, okay, here we go. Bran, Mira, Jojen, Hodor, they are going north. And Sam and Gilly are going south. And at some point, they cross paths. Prediction number one. Prediction number two. I believe that Osha and Rickon. Exactly. I believe that they're gone for a while. Like, I think they're okay, but I just don't think we know about them for a long time. Long time. That's it. Number three, Edmere. I think he's going to become, I asked if, like, he wasn't killed, he was outside. We don't really know, because he was out of the doors before they were locked. I think he ends up becoming a sperm hostage. And going with that there, if Rosalind produces an heir, then that heir is Lord of Riverrun, giving them, or say the Lannisters, control of Riverrun, which is good stuff for them. Number four, Jon. This one's vague, but I do believe I remember what I was talking about. We have the Paul Revere ride. I believe he rides up to the Castle Black and informs everybody who will hear near and far of his tales of what's coming from the ride of Jon Snow. I wish I came up with a better rhyme. I can't. But who's the real guy who did the ride? Benj, I know you're dying to tell me.
No, I mean...
Ishmael Valhamid.
Israel Bissell.
Ishmael
Valhamid.
You're welcome for a super inside joke there. You're welcome.
Nice. Yeah.
Sorry.
That took me... I'm like, I know that. Well, yeah.
I like to
that's
go
a
with
good one.
Six Flags with Ishmael. But anyways.
Israel Bissell. But
Israel Bissell.
I was just trying to think of a quick rhyme, but you have to go hard and to the low for the fateful ride of one Jon Snow. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So
not
the
the worst
only
thing I've
other question I have, if I could have a question real quick.
Let's add a question from the first time watch on the wall.
So like you had all mentioned before, at this point, King's Landing, the powers that be, believe that Sansa is the only Stark alive. Because we don't know about Bran and Rickon, we don't know about Arya, and I'm going to assume that at some point they're going to be informed about the Red Wedding, right? Does that leave Sansa as the heir to Winterfell?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so in their minds, not saying that she technically is, but in their minds right now.
In the collective royal we mind shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sansa is the rightful heir, making Tyrion Lord of Winterfell at this point.
Correct.
That's nuts. That's all. I just wanted to clarify my thinking that that's how we're going to roll through this.
And you have now been clarified.
Yep.
Crystal fucking clear.
So, as we do every episode, we're going to go through our house names and sigils and such. I am Sly of House McLean. My house words are, it's dangerous to go alone. The sigil I have is 3 gold triangles and a field of red and black. And, oh yes, it's dangerous to drink alone. Sorry. 3 gold triangles on a field of red and black. Just saw Luke's edit there. And we read, our hometown newspaper is the Daily Sun. If anybody gets that and you notice it's gaming stuff, you put it in the chat. I'd be impressed. Glenn, what's your house name?
Glenn of House Dog.
Your words?
You miss 99% of the shots you don't take.
What's your sigil?
Spuds McKenzie on a Wayne Gretzky jersey, number 99.
And what newspaper do you guys read?
We subscribe to the Moon Door Bee.
All right. Gertie, Abby, what's your house name?
I am Gertie of House Condescension.
What are your words?
We don't quit.
What's your sigil?
It's a field of white with a raven sitting upon a black, up-pointed chevron.
And what's your paper?
We get our news from the Nightly Raven.
Excellent. Luke?
All right, I am Lucan of House Blackmead.
What are your words?
Ours is the drink.
Your sigil?
An obsidian black chalice on a gold and blue checky background.
And what do you read?
Oh, we read a nightly paper called The Drowned Word.
Excellent. And yes, Rich, you are correct. All right, thank you. I appreciate somebody finally got it. All right. So join us very shortly, especially in the YouTube chat, for our epilogue episode where we're going to take about a 5-minute break to make some water, and come back, grab a couple beers. And we're going to be talking about the guest right. The salt and bread, the guest right.
So that'll be spoiler filled. We're going to kick Abby out. Go and get.
It's not even allowed on YouTube.
Yeah.
So can't even log into YouTube. Fuck it. Can't even go watch your cooking videos and shit.
I tried to watch like the comments from the watch video. I couldn't even get them. And then I tried to log into YouTube to get the chat, whatever your guys are looking at. I don't even know how. So you're pretty much in the clear of me trying
This is
to
how
figure it
she's
out.
so good at not be getting spoilers. She doesn't technology.
Yes.
I don't computer.
I don't compute.
Bad. I try so hard and I just suck. I don't know.
And we don't want to teach her. We don't want to have her get any better because that makes this a lot more difficult.
Oh, I suck.
Or it makes
God,
it
I'm
easier
such
for us that we
idiot.
don't.
Right. If she knew, it'd be a lot tougher.
Yeah. So, all right. So, follow us on Twitter at No One Drink. Send us a digital raven at noonedrink@gmail.com. Subscribe, like, rate, and leave us comments on iTunes and YouTube. And make sure to check out our brand new Patreon page.
Patreon.com/stayimaginary.
Thank you. And anything you can do to support us, we'd appreciate. That way we can keep putting this stuff out for you. So, until next time,
We keep putting out.
putting out for you. Yep. Until next time.
As always, I still don't know, so I'll just drink.
And as always, don't turn your back on the wolf pack.
As always, winter is coming, and so am I.
And as always, please stay imaginary. Glenn, with the voiceover, is always great.
How do you know this?
That's what I do. I drink and I know things.